Hey everyone, you're probably watching this video because you want to know how to be a real gigabrain Chad at the Mr. Turner Scythe maze. I did 250 Mr. Turner Scythe keys um, in season one, and I've learned a couple of tricks to enable me to do the maze very, very quickly. So, some of the basics, there are only 12 routes in the maze, and in particular, you start over here, and from your perspective, going left, there are 5 routes. Going straight, there are 3 routes. And going to the right, there are 4 routes, which is 5 plus 3 plus 4, which is 12. So I'm going to walk you through the strategy of figuring out which route you're on and what to do when you're actually in the maze. To preface this, I'll show you the routes. So the easiest one probably to learn first, which I recommend, is the middle routes. So basically what happens is, I'll just mark us as red. You're standing over here, and you mark the boss, and if she flies to the center door, what will happen is she may fly like to one of the other sides, but whichever one she flies through after the first door is a visual bug, so you do have to check this room here. So once she flies into the middle, you know there's only 3 routes. Once you check and figure out which of these doors it is, as you can see from this diagram of the 3 routes, the rest of the maze is solved. So going through the forward door, you only have to do 1 check, so just 1 room total. And then you know which route it is. So the way I like to remember it, and there are 3 routes, so you'll eventually memorize them if you want to be good, or you can use the Chinaman weak order that a lot of people use. First route I like to call the hard left route. So you come from your perspective, you're coming in through here, and if you take a hard left, you wrap around here to the room down here, and then because it's harder, you get to do an extra pack, the bonus pack. The other route is the soft left one. So you come through here and you take a soft left. Now in here is actually a 4-pack instead. Then you come around here and it's actually a very similar route. Because you took a soft left, you don't get the bonus room. And then finally, over here, green. If you take the pack over here, which is a matriarch, this is a matriarch, then all you do is you go and delete all the 5-pack rooms. So you go in a straight line, and then you head to the boss. So those are 3 routes already. There's not really any tricks to this middle route. There's some shenanigans which I'll explain later about this room and this room. Sorry, I'll let me mark them. There are some shenanigans with this room and this room, and maybe this room that I'll explain that affect other routes. So now I'll go ahead to the right routes. So there are 4 routes going right. And this is the interesting one, because if you come through here, then on average, you only you are checking 0.5 doors. And the reason for that is that one of the routes is a pure 0 check route, which is the red route. So if you mark the boss, and let me just change to black or white. So if you mark the boss, and let me just do a new one. You mark the boss, and she goes like this. She goes up here, then she turns right and goes up here. And you'll be able to see that. The maze is solved. You just wrap around here, along the outer edge, you're done. Also noting as well, that once you cross this doorway, this is actually a double pull you can pull together. As a Guardian Druid, I usually stealth here, Sunfire these, pull them back, then Sunfire this, and tank it around here. So that is a 0 check. When you get that, and you just rush through marking all the doors, it's relatively impressive to a lot of newcomers. Now the next route where she's forced to go is if she goes in here, she goes through here and she disappears. So you have the first 2 rooms checked if she goes right. So the next interesting thing is there is a second 0 check room. So when you're in this room over here, you can actually peer through the door into this pack over here that I'm marking as blue. So this blue pack is either a 4-pack or a matriarch. If it is the matriarch, then what happens is you're guaranteed to go this way. 2 5-pack rooms. If it is not a matriarch, as in it is the 4-pack, you can solve this room normally, and there's 2 solutions. So remember, you're going this way. If you're going this way out of this room, the maze is solved. You go around here, you go bang. And the other thing, if you go through here and you have to check this room, and you do end up coming out here, you know this over here is a 4-pack, which signifies that you go this way. So now those are the 4 routes and what I do to check. Now, what that means is usually what I do, if I have to go through this white room over here, is obviously I've marked Miss Caller, I know bang bang. I check the pedestal over here. I run over this way. And I check this pedestal here. And I look through the wall. And then someone will check this one over here. And the one over here. That's pretty much it. And I'll show you I'll talk about tips for solving pedestals later. Because on average, the maximum number of pedestals you'll be solving is 1. And on average, it'll be less than that. So, now we'll talk about the left routes. So I like to break up the left routes based on the information, because there are 5 of them, that you get off the boss. So the boss will go like this, or it'll go like this. So you can see the first 2 rooms, remember, if you mark Miss Caller. So what I recommend, especially on this setting, is you tank these 3 mobs here at X. It'll let you peer over the wall, and you can see if she goes over here, over here. So we'll talk about the red routes first. There are 2 of them. So the red routes, basically, when you're in this room over here, you only have to solve this way or this way. So I'm going to mark them. The more common one that I found is that you actually go around the outside. This seems to be a lot more common. So there's a pedestal. I'm going to mark the pedestals here for your convenience. There's a pedestal in here in the door. There's a pedestal over here, and 1 at each door. So I like to go around this way because it just seems, based on my experience, that you go on the outside more often. Also, what I like to do here is when you get to this room over here, which has the gulper, if you stand over here, you can pull these mobs through the wall. They run down here. And then you can get 65 count. Now, something else I want to mention, if you do want to take the option, is you want to tank the gulper over here, so these guys do not start casting until they run through the door over here. Otherwise, they'll cast that heal off the tender, and then, unless you AoE purge it, they won't be good. So if you do that, and you take the standard route of pulling these mobs, and these mobs, and skipping this, then you'll get 65 count, which means you can do a triple pull towards the end. And I think that's pretty good value, because by the time the DPS single target this down and these mobs come in, they'll be similar HP. Now, the other route, which I'll mark as red, I like to call it the other 19 route, is you go this way. Again, you've only checked 1 room here. Now I'll show you the slightly harder one. This requires the most brain power, and up until recently I thought this was the worst case scenario where you had to check 2 rooms, but I actually did some I did some big brain plays, and I reduced it to 1. So she comes down here, and she comes to this room, and then she disappears. So from here, she has 3 routes. So 1 route is going through here, the center room. This is the center room, as if you went straight from the beginning. So there's a pedestal here, there's a pedestal here, there's a pedestal against this wall, and a pedestal against this door. Okay, and the other 2 routes are you go down here, and I'll draw pink. You go up through here, room 18. So, the question is, how do you figure out how to solve the room in blue? Because remember, I told you guys the maximum checks you have to do is 1. So what you do, you follow the boss. You see we go through 2 doors. You come through this door. You check the first pedestal over here. And then what I do is I look through the wall at this mob over here. If this is the Night Blossom, then you're on the pink road. If you go down here, you will be on the pink road. If it's a 4-pack, then you'll be on the red route. So if you're going south, if you're going south down here, which is turning left from the blue perspective, then you only have to solve this room with the 4 green X's. And if you're going north, which is turning right from the blue perspective, then again you only have to solve this 1 room. And that's it. Those are all 12 routes. And now I'll just talk about some super quick stuff, which a lot of people know, but I'll just reiterate. So I'll give you an example. So if you come in here, you're going straight first. So if you get over here and you get, let's say you get a filled in leaf with no border. If you check any of the doors that you know is a viable exit, which in this case is all of them, you find the opposite, and that's the answer. Okay? Because, okay, you know the first door is safe. So if this is a filled in leaf, what's the opposite of filled in leaf? The opposite of filled in leaf is an empty flower with a ring. So if any of these are empty flower with a ring, that's the solution, and you're done. So instead of checking 4 pedestals, you can check 1, or you can even check 2. Sorry, instead of checking, let me apologize. Instead of checking 4, you can check 3. 3 or 2. The first one and the second one, or first one and third one. So that's one way of figuring it out. And we'll go to a different route. So, so say you come through, you come through here. You're walking down here. You come into this room down here, and you have to decide whether you want to go right or left. Or right and straight, someone would say. You check the pedestal over here. You know its attributes. You check the pedestal over here. You already have 2 bits of information, right? When you come down here, when you check the 3rd pedestal, if it's the opposite of the first one, you know you're done. And you also know this is safe because it's next to a wall. And if the exact opposite of this, then it's also correct. And then that means you don't necessarily need to check this one over here. Very helpful when you have a wall, which acts as a second guaranteed chance. So I guess that's my quick video for now. That's how I do the maze. I know some people use the Chinaman weak aura, but this is something that supplements it, especially if you know that there's 12 routes and you know the information about this room, and this room. It's either gulper or 4-pack. If you naturally come through this room, it'll always be a gulper. It'll never be a 4-pack. Only if you come down here will it be a 4-pack that you can pull through the wall. Going through again, I'll walk you through the routes very quickly. What are the routes which take you through here? If you're entering from this room over here, which I believe is called room 12 in Omni's mapping, this is always a gulper on the left route. On the mid route, on both mid routes, it's also a gulper. And on the right route, you do not pass through the door, so you can't see it. And anyway, if you get anywhere close to that room, you've already solved the maze, right? So like your vision is basically obscured to this, right? So there's no point checking for that. So yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk about. And hopefully you can big brain it as well. And if anyone wants the weak aura, I call this the Roto Brain Weak Aura. A lot of people ask me to link the weak aura for me marking the maze, and this is it. Look, there's no weak aura. On average, check 0.83 pedestals. Here are all the routes. Look, there's 5 on the left. If you go left and right, you're in that room. If you have to go right, you're done. If you go left, you wall hack. If it's a single mob, you're done. If it's a 4-pack, you're done. If you go left and then straight, again, left is going around the outer edge, right is cutting through the middle through room 19. On average, only 1 check. If you go through the mid, I already explained you only do the first room. And if you go right, that's the big brain one. One is a pure 0 check, another one's looking for a matriarch and then solving it, and then the other 2 are one you go to the right and you've solved it, and the other one you run to the left, but you have the knowledge that it's a 4-pack, so you go back through the center. So that's it. I'm going to just quickly upload this to YouTube, and hopefully you found it very helpful. Thanks, everyone.